How have we misunderstood the 84,000 Dharma Gates? Buddhist learners often hear that there are 84,000 Dharma Gates. Yet how many have ever asked where that number came from? Did the Buddha really teach 84,000 different paths? Or did he teach only one path, the path of right seeing and right letting go? Over more than 2,000 years, that teaching has been reduced to a slogan. According to one's capacities, any practice is right. But when according to capacity becomes a reason not to advance, when a practice is turned into a private religion, a brand, an ego, then a means has been mistaken for the end. The Dharma is not to build fences, but to break the fences within one's own mind. The 84,000 Dharma Gates are only 84,000 ways of looking back into the mind. And in the end, there is only one Dharma, to know clearly the mind that is arising and ceasing in this very moment. Perhaps in the course of any practitioner's life, at least once you have heard this saying. The Buddha has 84,000 Dharma Gates suited to different capacities. Do not disparage others' practices. That saying resounds in almost every assembly, cited as a kind of popular truth. It seems to represent the tolerant and open spirit of Buddhism. Anyone may practice anything, so long as it suits their conditions and capacity. At first hearing, it is indeed comforting. No arguments, no comparisons. Each person follows a different river toward the sea. Yet precisely because it is comforting, it easily makes people stop. When that saying is repeated long enough, it is no longer a teaching but a slogan. A statement that once opened innumerable doors to the way now inadvertently closes the door of self-inquiry. We have grown used to understanding the 84,000 Dharma Gates as the number of schools, as if the Buddha divided them for each group of people: Zen, Pure Land, Mantra, Vinaya, Yogacara, Avadamsaka. Then we imagine that once we choose the right practice for our capacity, we can rest assured, like choosing the right prescription for our illness and taking it unchanged for life. And so the one who recites the Buddha's name thinks that moving the lips and the mind is enough. The one who sits in meditation thinks that keeping the breath and mindfulness is enough. The one who chants mantra thinks that pronouncing the sound correctly and holding the mind correctly is enough. The way becomes a habit rather than a transformation. But ask this: if the 84,000 Dharma Gates exist only so that we pick one, then what are the remaining 83,999? The Buddha said innumerable, not so that we would choose, but so that we would see that each gate is only a door, while the Dharma is the whole path. The image of a gate is very important. Dharma Gate means the door of the Dharma. A door is not a house, much less a place to dwell. A door is only for passing through. Yet from past to present, many stop right at the door, set up an altar, hang a signboard, decorate with lotuses, and then bow before the door, believing that this is entering the way. The Buddha did not set up schools. The Buddha opened. Those who came later set up schools and named the doors. When we say Pure Land School, Zen School, Mantra School, we are in fact speaking of different doors of the same house. But a door is only a door. Whether one enters the house or not depends on the one who steps. There are those who spend a lifetime kneeling before the Zen door and have never truly sat down to face themselves. There are those who recite the Buddha's name for decades, yet have never once clearly seen how a single moment of anger arises in their own mind. There are those who chant until they know each Sanskrit syllable, yet still do not know who it is that is chanting. As for the person who truly practices, a single breath can carry them straight through the door, because they see the Dharma right within their own mind. Why then do we so easily stop at the door? Because standing at the door is easier than entering the house. Standing at the door requires only faith. Entering the house requires the courage to look back at oneself. A practice gives us the feeling of having support, of having rituals, of having a community. It is safe, easy to grasp, easy to keep. But the Dharma, the way the Buddha wished to transmit, is formless and imageless and demands that the practitioner realize it with the luminous, knowing mind. That is far harder than memorizing a method. There is a sad paradox in practice. The more people say according to capacity, the fewer are truly willing to transform their capacity. They think capacity is fixed like fate. So, I fit this style, you fit that style. But the Buddha never said capacity is a sentence. Capacity is a starting point, not a hiding place. When the mind shifts and wisdom grows, capacity also changes. Beginners need simple methods. Those with depth need subtle methods. Whoever clings forever to an old method without transforming themselves is no longer practicing. They are only reliving an old habit of practice. Let us look again at the way the Buddha taught. He never told anyone, "Believe me unconditionally." He said, "Be a lamp unto yourselves." The Buddha did not give us a single method. He gave us the eye to see the Dharma. Therefore, the 84,000 Dharma gates are not 84,000 fixed prescriptions, but innumerable perspectives to treat innumerable afflictions. If we look deeply, we will see that in every moment of life we are standing before countless doors of Dharma. When anger arises, we are standing before the door of compassion. When craving arises, we are standing before the door of letting go. When doubt arises, we are standing before the door of wisdom. If we know how to open the right door, we advance. If not, we circle around the threshold and call that practice. Sometimes we understand, according to capacity, as a concession. I am low, I will only do this much. But the Buddha did not teach us to belittle ourselves. He taught us to rise from exactly where we have fallen. One of low capacity who advances is a person of wisdom. One of high capacity who clings to a method is a person who falls. So, according to capacity, is not for settling, it is for setting out. A Zen master once said that a student of the way is like one standing in a forest with 100 paths. Every path has a signpost, yet none will take you to the goal if you do not walk. A practice is a signpost. The Dharma is the real road, and when that road is fully walked, it always disappears beneath your steps. In truth, no one denies the value of methods. Thanks to methods, the beginner's mind is guided and tamed and shaped like iron heated and poured into a mold. But if we keep that mold forever, the iron will never become a sword. A method is not wrong. It is only wrong when the practitioner stops too early. It is like a patient who, upon feeling some relief, keeps the same bottle of medicine for life. They do not realize that the medicine works only in the initial stage. When the body changes and another illness arises, a different medicine is needed or perhaps none at all. If they continue taking it, the medicine becomes poison. The Buddha compared the Dharma to a raft. The wise use the raft to cross the river. The foolish carry the raft on their shoulders. Carrying the raft is also a kind of reverence, but it is reverence in ignorance. A method turns into an ultimate end when people forget that all methods are expedients to cross ignorance, not to nourish it in a new form. When the number 84,000 is turned into a slogan, the Dharma loses its depth. We say innumerable Dharma gates, yet our mind is extremely limited. We like only what suits us, believe only what we understand, listen only to those who speak in the same voice. Dharma gates are meant to symbolize openness, but we use them to close. Dharma gates are meant to be doors, but we turn them into walls. Please translate the above text into English for me. Note that the text contains only English. Therefore, the very first step to truly enter the way is not to choose a particular method, but to know that every method is only a gate. Do not confuse the gate with the road. Do not assume that having a method is the same as having the Dharma. One who understands this, even if only through a single mindful breath, is ahead of someone who spends an entire lifetime chanting about 84,000 Dharma gates without knowing which gate they are standing before. And right there, where the practitioner pauses to observe, sees which threshold they are standing on, and which method they are clinging to, right there the Dharma begins to reveal itself. It does not arise from language or scriptures, but from the light of awareness. Among countless methods, ask yourself, which method am I practicing, or which method am I clinging to? Am I passing through the gate, or only standing at the gate? The ancients spoke of 84,000 Dharma gates, but no one has ever counted them. The Buddha never sat down to list them. This is the first method, this is the second, this is the third. 84,000 is a symbol of innumerable, of what cannot be counted or contained, like the phrases innumerable beings or boundless worlds. That innumerability is not a number, but the Buddha's heart, so vast that no mental illness is left out. If beings have 84,000 afflictions, then the Buddha opens 84,000 ways to cure them. It is not 84,000 styles of cultivation, but 84,000 different prescriptions for 84,000 mental diseases. One who is heavy in craving is given the medicine of letting go. One who is heavy in anger is given the medicine of compassion. One who is heavy in delusion is given the medicine of wisdom. One who is heavy in conceit is given the medicine of humility. One who is heavy in doubt is given the medicine of faith. One who is prone to restlessness is given the medicine of mindfulness. One who is prone to clinging is given the medicine of contemplation on non-self. One who is burdened with suffering is given the medicine of loving kindness, compassion, empathetic joy, and equanimity. Each method, rightly understood, is a way to heal the mind in that very moment. When the Buddha said, "Prescribe according to the illness," he was not speaking only of the big diseases of greed, hatred, and delusion. He was also speaking of the smallest tremors of daily life. Our mind changes from moment to moment, so the method also changes from moment to moment. There is no fixed method for a whole lifetime. There is only lifelong mindful awareness. In each second of mindfulness, the practitioner will know which illness the mind has right now and which method is needed to counteract it. When craving arises, contemplate impermanence. Craving resists impermanence because it wants to hold on to what it has. Contemplating impermanence teaches the mind to release. Everything comes and goes. Grasping only brings suffering. Craving then subsides. When anger arises, contemplate compassion. Anger resists compassion because it wants to oppose and to win. Contemplating compassion opens the heart. The other person suffers, and so do we. No one is worthy of our hatred. When delusion arises, contemplate dependent origination. Delusion is not seeing cause and effect. Seeing dependent arising dissolves confusion. Every mental state has a corresponding antidote. That is the profound meaning of the 84,000 Dharma Gates. In other words, the 84,000 Dharma Gates are not in a chanting book or on a temple signboard. They are right within the stream of mind that arises and ceases in each instant. A refined practitioner, whenever noticing the mind deviating by even a hair's breadth, immediately knows which method to use to set it right. That person is practicing in every breath, every step, every glance. In that very flexibility, the method disappears and only the living Dharma remains. Why, then, did the Buddha choose the number 84,000 instead of simply saying innumerable? Because in the Indian tradition, 84,000 is a symbolic number of fullness. 8 points to the Noble Eightfold Path. 4 points to the Four Noble Truths, the foundational truths. 1,000 points to the countless and the limitless. Taken together, 84,000 means this. Innumerable skillful means all arise from the right path of the Eightfold Path and the Four Noble Truths. Nothing lies outside that frame. Saying 84,000 helps listeners understand that, although innumerable, all methods still return to one current: the ending of suffering, the realization of the path, and liberation. In Abhidhamma commentaries such as the Athasalini and in commentators like Dhammapala, we find a subtle division. 21,000 belong to the Vinaya to counteract unwholesome bodily actions. 21,000 belong to the Sutta collection to counteract unwholesome verbal actions, and 42,000 belong to the Abhidhamma to counteract unwholesome mental actions. These three karmic doors of body, speech, and mind encompass the whole domain of the Buddhist teaching. Thus, the 84,000 Dharma Gates do not lie outside the purification of the three karmas. Purify body, purify speech, purify mind, and you have studied the 84,000 Dharma Gates. Mental karma weighs more heavily, because mind is the root and body and speech are only its shadows. Therefore, most methods are in fact contemplations of the mind. Contemplation to know what the mind is doing, and contemplation to see that mind is only dependent arising without a fixed self. The moment this is seen, the 84,000 afflictions dissolve into one place and ignorance is illuminated. We can say that the 84,000 Dharma Gates are the concrete expression of the three trainings of virtue, concentration, and wisdom. Every method, despite differences in form, revolves around these three axes. One who keeps precepts is practicing the method of purifying conduct. One who cultivates concentration is practicing the method of gathering the mind. One who cultivates insight is practicing the method of seeing things as they are. There are 84,000 gates, yet only one foundation, one road, one destination. The Buddha opens countless paths, yet there is only one direction toward liberation. The wonder is that the 84,000 Dharma gates are not only for monastics. Every layperson, every person in worldly life, also has all 84,000 methods at hand. When facing wealth, status, praise, and blame, all of these are doors of the Dharma. If we know how to look rightly, every circumstance becomes a method. The angry use anger as a mirror. The greedy use greed to learn to release. The deluded use delusion to learn to see clearly. Nothing lies outside the Dharma, because the Dharma is the awakening to every phenomenon. If we learn only one method, we learn only how to treat one illness. If we live in mindfulness, we learn all methods, because every phenomenon becomes a lesson. This is the true meaning of 84,000 Dharma gates. It is not many roads of cultivation, but countless opportunities to awaken. In the tradition, the patriarchs have always emphasized that methods are not outside the mind. To know the mind is to know the Dharma, not to know the mind. Even after reading 84,000 collections, is still not to have seen the way. Therefore, one who understands the Dharma does not need to memorize many scriptures or remember many theories. They need only know one thing. Wherever the mind is settled, there the Dharma is. When that temporary obstruction is broken, the mind rests, and all dharmas rest. When the mind is agitated, the dharmas become agitated. When the mind is luminous, the 84,000 Dharma gates become a single Dharma of pure awareness. Looking deeply in this way, we understand why the Buddha did not give us a fixed road. If he had taught only one way, the way would have died 2,000 years ago. Because there are innumerable skillful means, the way is alive and permeates every circumstance. The Buddha did not teach people to follow his personal path. He taught everyone to walk their own path by the light of wisdom. The 84,000 Dharma gates are in truth 84,000 lamps shining on 84,000 shadows in the mind. Each person has a unique shadow, so no one can use the same lamp. When all shadows have been illumined and there is nothing left to shine upon, the lamp goes out, the methods fall away, and only the light of the empty mind remains, without discrimination and without choosing. Someone recites the Buddha's name, the mind becomes collected, the body at ease. That is an expedient means. But then they cling to the idea that only recitation is correct and meditation is wrong. The moment that clinging arises, the raft turns into a burden. One who attains deep meditative absorption experiences stillness and sees all thoughts dissolve. That too is an expedient means. But if they cling to that stillness and believe they have attained realization, the raft again becomes a wall that blocks them from the shore. Even wisdom itself can become an obstacle if one clings to wisdom. An expedient is truly an expedient only when we know we are using it to travel, not living inside it to breathe. A method is not sacred. It is merely a temporary bridge laid across the stream of delusion. Once we have crossed, the bridge can be dismantled. If we remain on the bridge and build a house there, we will live forever halfway. An expedient can be learned and imitated. The ultimate cannot. It can only be directly realized. A learner may chant 100 sutras word for word, but only one who has gone through it knows what crossing the river means. The ultimate is not found in words. It lies in a mind that has ended the craving to seek. Expedients turn outward and require forms, sounds, and actions. The ultimate turns inward and requires only a single luminous knowing mind. Expedients require faith. The ultimate requires seeing. Faith is the gate, seeing is the house. Faith is departure, seeing is arrival. If we remain forever in belief without advancing to seeing, that belief becomes superstition, pleasant, but not liberating. A child needs a walker to learn to walk, but if 10 years later they must still cling to it, that child has not grown. So too with practitioners, methods are the walker. At some point one must dare to step with the bare feet of mindfulness, walking without a cane, without a frame, with only the breath and the clear knowing. At that point, all methods become natural expedients, neither chosen nor rejected, and without needing names. Someone may ask, if we put down expedients, won't we fall into a void? No, putting down expedients is not abandoning practice. It is shifting from practicing the form to practicing the essence. When we contemplate impermanence, non-self, and the knowing itself, Then the very breath, the sound of the bell, the morning light, everything becomes a living method. There is no need to separate ourselves from life, no need to rely on form. Everything in life becomes a raft, and we move lightly along the water. Not everyone should put down the raft early. One who cannot swim and jumps into the river will sink. One who is already swimming but fears the water will turn back to cling to the raft. The Buddha did not teach us to discard all forms, but to know when they are needed and when to set them down. That is wisdom, to use at the right time and release at the right time. When the mind is still turbulent, rely on methods. When the mind is already at ease, let the methods go. Holding and releasing are both the way, provided we do not cling to either holding or releasing. In the middle-length discourses, the Buddha says that just as a fire is kindled by fuel, when the fuel is all burned, the fire goes out. When practitioners have attained wisdom, they no longer cling to virtue, concentration, and wisdom. Then liberation is present. This is the meaning of setting down the raft. It is not rejecting virtue, concentration, and wisdom, but seeing that they are complete and need not be grasped. Just as when a flower blooms, its petals fall, not because the flower hates its petals, but because the fragrance is complete. Every method has a rising, a beginning, practice, and result. The ultimate has no arising, because it neither comes nor goes. The ultimate is nowhere apart from the mind. It neither arises nor ceases. One who sees this smiles, realizing that the other shore is not at the end of the river, but right where one stands. Such a person still recites the Buddha's name, still sits in meditation, still works, still lives like anyone else, but no longer relies on forms, for every act is Dharma, and every breath is the way. The Buddha never said, "Seek the other shore." He only taught, "Cross the river." After crossing, one realizes the other shore has always been this shore. It was only the obscured mind that imagined too. The mind changes day by day. What suited us yesterday may be outdated today. The method is not wrong. The mind has changed. Knowing this, the practitioner remains flexible and does not insist on practicing in the old way. Perhaps yesterday one needed to chant sutras to gather the mind. Today a single breath suffices. Yesterday one needed to sit still. Today one needs to step out and do a good deed. Expedients are a flow, not a fixed mold. The ultimate does not lie in how we act, but in how we know. To know clearly what we are doing, with what mind, for whom, and why. When the practitioner truly sees, they recognize that all expedients share one essence: ways for the mind to return to itself. When the mind has returned, the road is no longer needed. The methods disappear, and only the nature of Dharma remains. Recitation, meditation, mantra, sutra chanting, all become natural expressions of mindfulness, without boundaries. This is my method, that is your method. The whole of life becomes a single practice: seeing, knowing, releasing. The Dharma is the raft, we are the ones crossing. Do not be quick to throw away the raft before reaching the shore, but do not carry the raft once ashore. The raft is made to cross, not to be treasured as a relic. The Dharma is made for liberation, not for display. One who understands the way does not flaunt methods or disparage them. They quietly practice until there is no longer a practitioner. At that point, the 84,000 Dharma gates dissolve into a single ordinary breath, and the raft, having fulfilled its mission, drifts away without leaving a trace in the heart of the one who has crossed. Expedient means are the raft, the ultimate is the shore. When we realize the shore was never far, the raft naturally dissolves into the stillness of the mind. People today misunderstand. I practice pure land. You practice sin. They practice mantra. Each person then erects an invisible fence around themselves, thick as the walls of attachment to methods. A method is turned into a label, a team to boast about, a separate spiritual identity. The Dharma, originally without self, becomes my method. The Dharma, originally to open the gate of liberation, is used to shut one in a zone of belief. Then the expedient becomes an obstacle, because the practitioner clings to the finger and forgets the moon. The Buddha once pointed to the moon with a finger. The wise look where it points. The foolish clutch the finger. Today many chant 84,000 methods according to capacities, but in truth they only want to defend their own method, seeing it as the only path, the right and orthodox Dharma. This clinging to my method is subtler and more dangerous than greed and anger because it wears the robe of morality, the robe of learning, the robe of supposed wisdom. When a method becomes a brand, practitioners no longer seek truth, they seek agreement within their own group. A Pure Land practitioner may embody kindness and faith in reciting the Buddha's name. But if they cling to the view that only recitation is the true path and meditation is wrong, they have already departed from the gate of the way. A meditator may contemplate deeply and see mind and nature, but if they cling to the view that only meditation is superior and Pure Land is for the weak, they have fallen into conceit, arrogance within insight. A mantra practitioner may feel the wondrous energy of seals and mantras, but if they look down on precepts and abandon wisdom, they are merely intoxicated by energy, no different from one drunk on sensuality. The three paths are three doors of the same Dharma, yet people build walls between the doors and argue over which one gets you in faster. That is precisely the illness of equating a method with the ego. It is like a beginner in martial arts boasting, "I study Shaolin, I study Wudong." But those who train to the very end have no name left at all, only the way of breath, body, and mind that rises above every school. It is the same in the Dharma. As long as a practitioner still says "my method," the I remains intact. When the I is gone, all methods are equal. The Dharma originally has no owner. It is only those who cling to methods who create owned Dharma. Like water, which has no shape, but people pour it into cups, bottles, and jars, then argue that the water in the round jar is truer than the water in the square one. So too with the Dharma, Zen, Pure Land, mantra, insight, calm, chanting. These are only containers of the Dharma, while the Dharma itself flows through them all. When we understand this, we no longer debate. But when we forget, we begin to judge. That method is low, this method is high. That person is wrong, I am right. The moment we judge, the gate of the Dharma closes. Those who cling to a method the way they cling to a floating plank in the sea think they are safe, but in fact they are afraid. Afraid to let go, afraid to fall, afraid of having nothing to believe in. What they fear most is not losing the method, but losing the ego's support. For when there is no longer my method, my school, my teacher, who is this me? That is why attachment to method, however noble it sounds, is the subtlest form of self-clinging. Sadly, the more methods there are, the more reasons people find to divide. Arguments about who is right or wrong, who is lower or higher, which method is more ultimate, abound online, in temples, even among teachers. People forget that the Buddha did not establish sects, he established practice. Sects were organized later by humans for convenience in learning, like different schools teaching the same language. Actual practice is the common tongue everyone can understand, if they truly practice. A Burmese monk sits in forest meditation, a Japanese monk chants Pure Land sutras, a Vietnamese nun recites the name of Avalokiteshvara. Though their forms differ, if their minds are aligned with virtue, concentration, and wisdom, recognizing and cutting off afflictions, they are in the same Dharma. Meanwhile, people sitting in the same hall, wearing the same robes, chanting the same scriptures, but whose minds are fixed on right/wrong, winning/losing. Those people are in a different Dharma. In many assemblies, someone asks, which method is the highest, Zen or Pure Land, mantra or insight? It sounds serious, but it is actually a sign of subtle self-clinging. The questioner is not seeking the way, but seeking something to prove they chose correctly. In the very wish to choose correctly lies the fear of being wrong, and in that fear, people fall deeper into superstition. The Buddha never taught a highest method. He taught methods suited to capacity. But suited to capacity does not mean fixed. A person may begin with Pure Land, move to Zen, then to insight, then return to Pure Land. There is no hierarchy called higher. There is only the depth of awakening. One who uses methods is like a craftsman with tools. When a hammer is needed, use a hammer. When a knife is needed, use a knife. One who clings to method is like a fool who grips a hammer for life, smashing everything, including their own heart. There are those who practice quietly amid the marketplace, claiming neither Zen nor Pure Land, bearing no labels. yet their minds are bright. They are evidence of the Buddha's words, "Who sees the Dharma sees me." To see the Dharma is not to see a sect, but to see the selfless nature of every sect. That is where all paths meet. When a method is turned into a brand, we forget that the Dharma has no trademark, only essence. The Dharma needs no advertisement, no defense, no proof. It only needs to be lived and realized in each breath, each action, each thought. One who truly lives in the Dharma is teaching even in silence. One who talks about Dharma for a lifetime but lacks mindfulness is but the echo of an ego. The Dharma needs no protector. It is only our mind that needs liberation from its defensiveness. If we still have to defend our method, then we do not truly trust the Dharma. For the Dharma is like air, pervading, unafraid of loss, unafraid of division. One who breathes the Dharma no longer thinks about whose method belongs to whom. A method is a door, not a brand. The way is a road, not a signboard. As long as we are still debating which door is prettier, we have not yet stepped into the house. The Buddha taught, according to capacity, so that we begin from where we stand, not so that we stand there forever. Like children learning letters, each starts differently, but all must learn to read and write, and then put down the alphabet. Capacity is not fixed. For anyone diligent, whose wisdom grows, capacity transforms as well. If we forever cling to according to my capacity, without moving beyond it, that is not practice. That is taking shelter in a comfortable superstition. Today, those three words, according to capacity, are often used as a cozy cloak to cover laziness. Everyone says, I practice according to my capacity, but few ask what that capacity is and whether it can change. Capacity is not destiny, but the mind's temporary starting point in the round of rebirth. The Buddha never told anyone, you may only stay at this level. On the contrary, he said there are no castes in blood equally red and tears equally salty. If the mind shifts its karma and wisdom brightens, capacity shifts too. Only when our mind fortifies itself within comfort does capacity become a prison. Capacity, apaya, means the mind's present spiritual potential or its ability to understand and practice. Those with the capacity of wisdom find insight contemplation easy. Those with the capacity of faith easily arouse devotion. Those with the capacity of concentration readily gather the mind. The Buddha taught according to capacity because he saw clearly the structure of each person's mind. Those heavy in greed, he taught methods of renunciation. Those heavy in anger, he taught methods of loving kindness. Those heavy in delusion, he taught methods of wisdom. Those heavy in conceit, he taught methods of humility. That is, according to capacity, the right medicine is chosen for the right illness, not to preserve the illness forever. The Buddha is a master physician. A physician does not say, your illness is mild. Keep it, it suits your capacity. A physician says, here is the right medicine for you to be cured. When you are cured, you will no longer need medicine. Capacity is not a reason to accept stagnation, but a means to set out from where we stumble. The mistake people make is turning capacity into a hiding place. Many, when hearing a difficult teaching, say, my capacity is low, I can't understand. Hearing of meditative insight, they say, I am only suited to recitation. Hearing about contemplation of non-self, they say, I lack the wisdom, sincerity is enough. Hearing about precepts, they say, times have changed, how can anyone keep them? Such words sound humble, but they conceal a quiet arrogance. Arrogance for having defined oneself and refusing to surpass that boundary. A weak ego is still an ego. It declares itself low capacity in order not to change, draping itself in modesty to avoid effort. Some compare capacity to soil. Poor soil, when plowed deep and fertilized, becomes good. Good soil, if never sown, goes to waste. Low capacity is not frightening. What is frightening is the refusal to improve one's capacity. The Buddha spoke of according to capacity, out of compassion so that people would not feel inferior. But he also said, whoever is diligent, that person prevails. Low capacity with diligence surpasses high capacity with complacency. According to capacity does not mean stopping progress. Some say, I will recite the Buddha's name my whole life. That is enough. True, If one truly recites to the point of single-mindedness without distraction, to the point of seeing the Buddha in the mind is Buddha, that is wisdom itself, nothing more needed. But if one only recites with the mouth, only hears the beads click, while the mind still clings to self and erupts in anger, then excuses it by saying, "I only recite according to my capacity," that is no longer practice. That is sleeping to the sound of sutras. Likewise, there are people who sit in meditation for a few minutes of calm and think they have attained, then cling to concentration, abandon virtue and wisdom, and say, "I only practice according to my capacity. I don't need scriptures." Here, capacity is not reality but a pretext to cover conceit. One who truly understands their capacity will always be humble, always learning, always moving forward. One who uses capacity as a justification will be buried by that very capacity. The Buddha set no limits for anyone. In the scriptures, he never called anyone hopeless. Even for the bandit Agulimala, who had killed 999 people, the Buddha still came and said only one sentence: "I have stopped. You have not stopped." With that single sentence, his heart melted and he became an arahant. If the Buddha rigidly classified people as low or high capacity, how could there be Agulimala? If there were no Agulimala, how could there be King Ajatasattu later repenting? How could there be the courtesan Ambapali attaining sainthood? Capacity is only temporary. The true Dharma is what is real. Whoever drinks water is relieved of thirst. The Buddha never asked whether the one drinking was a king or a beggar. Only those who refuse to drink keep sitting and debating which capacity the water suits. Practice is a continual journey of rebirth through successive layers of understanding. One who truly practices does not stop at what they have understood, because they know every "I understand" is just an old shell. The Buddha called this the constant breaking of shells, breaking the shell of delusion, the shell of attachment, the shell of conceit. Yesterday's capacity cannot contain today's wisdom. Without breaking, the mind does not grow. A seed cannot sprout if it clings to its hard shell and says, "This shell suits my capacity." The wise do not ask, "Which method suits me?" They ask, "Where am I still unopened?" They practice not to reinforce the existing ego, but to shatter the old capacity and open a new level of understanding. This is the true meaning of according to capacity. According so as to go, not according so as to stay. A quick-tempered person whose mind easily flares up needs, at first, to recite loving-kindness and contemplate the breath to cool down. That is according to capacity. But if they spend their whole life stopping at, "I must recite so I won't get angry," they have not gone further. One day, as wisdom grows, they will see there is no one to be angry at and nothing worth anger. Then the antidotal method falls away of itself, leaving only luminous knowing. That is the step from according to capacity to surpassing capacity. Likewise, someone heavy in greed initially needs to contemplate impurity. But when the mind sees non-self, they no longer need to contemplate impurity, because the vision of non-self already encompasses everything. Antidotal methods are temporary. Capacity is temporary. Only awakened presence is enduring. According to capacity is a teaching full of compassion, but misunderstood, it becomes a pretext for spiritual conservatism. The Buddha does not want us to be perpetual patients suited to a drug, but people who no longer need drugs. There is no fixed capacity. Only a stubborn mind refuses to change. One who truly understands according to capacity is one who is transforming themselves each day, continually learning, continually letting go, continually illuminating. Capacity is a starting point, not a dwelling place. If today we are still where we were, then according to capacity has turned into careless acquiescence and ignorance. It is not just 3 words, it is a map of awakening. Virtue is the ground that halts unwholesome acts. Concentration is the power that gathers the mind. Wisdom is the light that sees things as they are. Reciting the Buddha's name without concentration is only reciting with the mouth. Meditation without virtue is merely self-soothing. Mantra without wisdom is mere incantation. Any method that does not return to virtue, concentration, and wisdom remains tainted and does not lead to liberation. Virtue, concentration, and wisdom are not three separate practices, but three phases of one process. Virtue restrains body, speech, and mind from harm, allowing the mind to rest. A restful mind gives rise to concentration. Deep concentration opens wisdom. Bright wisdom, in turn, strengthens virtue, and this spiral continues to elevate consciousness. This is the ascending helix of the way. Virtue is the gate of entry. Concentration is the road. Wisdom is the destination. The three function like water, fire, and light, blending inseparably. Lacking virtue, the mind is disorderly. Lacking concentration, the mind is scattered. Lacking wisdom, the mind is benighted. When all three are complete, the mind returns to the natural state of nirvana, still, lucid, unobstructed. Virtue is not a set of rules to gag or imprison people, but freedom from the fetters of unwholesome behavior. One who breaks precepts is not punished by heaven, but punishes themselves through the results of karma. Virtue is like a fence around a rice field. It does not hinder life. It only keeps out the animals that would destroy it. Without virtue, the mind cannot rest and cannot concentrate. Without virtue, meditation turns into delusive absorption. Recitation turns into supplication. Mantra turns into the illusion of power. Virtue is the first step of wisdom. When we keep precepts, it is not to win the Buddha's favor, but so the mind is clear enough to see itself truly. One who breaks precepts always has a mind in hiding. One who keeps precepts has a mind at ease and readily concentrated. There is no need to ask whether we have attained anything. We need only ask, do I still cause suffering to anyone? The answer reveals the measure of virtue, concentration, and wisdom in us. Concentration is not merely sitting still without movement. Concentration is the capacity to gather the mind into a single point of awareness. When the body is not scattered, speech is not chaotic, and thought does not waver, concentration arises. Concentration is not forcing the mind to be rigidly still, but returning it to its natural state of restful presence without coercion. One who has concentration, whether walking, standing, lying down, or sitting, keeps a mind like a clear lake. A stone may fall and send ripples, but soon the surface is calm again, leaving no trace. One without concentration is stirred to waves by a single word of criticism. One with concentration hears 10 words of praise and remains as quiet as bone. Concentration is inner strength independent of circumstance. If one recites the Buddha's name and the mind still runs, there is a lack of concentration. If one sits in meditation and, upon closing the eyes, already floats away on imagination, there is a lack of concentration. Concentration is not only for meditation masters. Whenever a person eats and knows they are eating, walks and knows they are walking, breathes and knows they are breathing, that is right concentration. Concentration needs no special form, only full presence. Wisdom is not information. Wisdom is direct seeing, without concepts and without memory. Knowledge says, I know. Wisdom only says, I see. One with wisdom, seeing a single leaf fall, sees impermanence. One lacking wisdom may read 1,000 sutras and still see only words. Wisdom arises naturally from concentration, like a lamp that only shines when the wind has died. Without concentration, wisdom is mere theory. Without virtue, wisdom easily turns into conceit. True wisdom does not talk much or argue. It simply sees non-self clearly in each breath. One who has wisdom no longer asks which method is correct, because they know every method is correct if the practitioner truly sees their own mind. Wisdom is the Buddha's eye, the final torch that illumines the darkness of self-clinging. Virtue, concentration, and wisdom are three facets of a single jewel that cannot be separated. Virtue without concentration is dry and tends to become formalistic morality. Concentration without wisdom is dim and easily becomes indifference. Wisdom without virtue is arrogant and easily becomes wrong view. When the three facets illuminate one another, that jewel reflects the light of nirvana. This is why every true method returns to virtue, concentration, and wisdom, even if it bears a different name. A person who recites the Buddha's name, keeps pure precepts, calms the mind, and sees Buddha nature is practicing virtue, concentration, and wisdom. One who sits in meditation, contemplates the breath, stops discursive thought, sees the mind, and lets go of self is also practicing virtue, concentration, and wisdom. One who chants mantras, keeps the mind unified without wandering, and contemplates non-self in each syllable is likewise practicing virtue, concentration, and wisdom. Different roads, same destination. Same virtue, same concentration, same wisdom. Any practice that does not return to virtue, concentration, and wisdom remains a leaking practice, which means afflictions still seep through. One who gives in order to be praised is leaking. One who keeps precepts to prove their morality is leaking. One who cultivates concentration to gain special powers is leaking. Only when the act is no longer for the ego, but solely to end suffering and to see truth, is it unleaking. The Buddha called this a stream without leaks, because the mind has been sealed by wisdom and no longer has the holes of greed, anger, and delusion. Every method, whether it begins with faith, with concentration, or with action, must finally arrive at this unleaking place. If the 84,000 methods are countless roads, then virtue, concentration, and wisdom are the single compass that points the right direction. With the compass in hand, one may travel any road, through Pure Land, through Zen, through mantra, through Vinaya. But if one loses the orientation of virtue, concentration, and wisdom, the farther one goes, the farther one strays from the Dharma. Without this compass, a practitioner easily falls into conceit, gets lost in form, and imagines they are practicing while actually only feeding the ego. Virtue keeps the body from wrongdoing. Concentration keeps the mind from agitation. Wisdom keeps the understanding from confusion. When these three operate together, the practitioner no longer asks which method is correct, because every method is correct once the mind has returned to the three trainings. Just as all rivers flow to the sea, all methods, when carried to the end, flow into virtue, concentration, and wisdom. That sea is the nature of Dharma, where there is no longer any division between Zen, Pure Land, mantra, or insight. There remains only a clear and silent current reflecting the empty, yet complete knowing. Each method is a turn in the road, yet all merge into the path of the Noble Eightfold Way. Whether we recite, contemplate, chant, or sit, in the end it is right view, right mindfulness, and right concentration. The Buddha taught innumerable methods so that everyone could begin, not so that everyone could build a private road. He opened 84,000 doors, but not 84,000 separate paths. He opened many doors because beings have countless capacities, habits, and karmic conditions, yet the destination is one alone, the ending of suffering and the removal of ignorance. No matter which door one enters, one must finally walk the Noble Eightfold Path. No one can take another path and still arrive at awakening. The Noble Eightfold Path is the backbone of every method. It is the single road the Buddha walked and revealed. From sutras, precepts, and treatises to Zen, Pure Land, and mantra, all take these 8 branches as their root. Without the Noble Eightfold Path, every method is a side path that leads nowhere. Why did the Buddha call it the path of 8 branches? The 8 are not 8 rungs climbed in order, but 8 interwoven limbs that nourish one another. Right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. They are not merely 8 lessons to learn, but 8 breaths of one awakened body-mind. Right view is seeing correctly and is the foundation of wisdom. Right intention is thinking correctly and nourishes concentration. Right speech, right action, and right livelihood are acting correctly and are the expression of virtue. Right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration are practicing correctly and are the operation of the way. The 3 trainings of virtue, concentration, and wisdom are fully contained within these 8 limbs. The Noble Eightfold Path is the thread that runs through the 84,000 beads of the Dharma, stringing them into a single mala of practice leading to awakening. The minds of beings are not the same. Some easily trust, some easily doubt. Some turn inward, some outward. The Buddha did not force anyone to practice identically. He opened countless doors so each person could enter from where they stand. Yet once inside, all meet at the Noble Eightfold Path. A person who recites the Buddha's name, if they understand deeply, finds that recitation is right mindfulness. Seeing the Buddha in the mind is right view. Regular practice is right effort. Keeping a compassionate heart is right action. Not seeking fame and gain is right livelihood. In this way, they are walking the Noble Eightfold Path even with a single line of the Buddha's name. One who sits in meditation and truly practices, contemplating the breath and seeing impermanence, is cultivating right mindfulness and right concentration. Seeing thoughts arise and pass without clinging is right view. Keeping body, speech, and mind tranquil is right action and right livelihood. Not lax and not forceful is right effort. Even without reciting a single line, they are walking the same road. The Buddha did not tell practitioners to walk in only one manner. He taught that however one walks, it must be in the right direction. That direction is the Eightfold Path. Some study 100 methods but lack right view, and the mind remains off-center. Without right speech, the mouth still finds fault. Without right mindfulness, actions still follow delusion. Such a person may study much, yet still wander outside the Eightfold Path. Conversely, another keeps only a few simple things. They do not lie, they harm no one, they remain mindful, and they live all day within virtue, concentration, and wisdom. Such a person is already walking the Noble Eightfold Path without knowing it. The Dharma is not in words or rituals. The Dharma lies in right conduct of mind. Right means aligned with the Noble Eightfold Path. When body, speech, and mind are aligned, even if one never names a method, one is within the Buddha's true path. The 8 limbs do not rank higher or lower. Right view is not higher than right speech. Right concentration is not higher than right action. Each limb is a facet of the same jewel, the radiance issuing from a single luminous mind. Practitioners who grade methods as higher or lower have already fallen from right view at the very first step. One who insists that meditation alone is enough and virtue unnecessary has lost right view. One who insists that chanting alone is enough and wisdom unnecessary has also lost right view. Right view is not belief in something. It is seeing the truth that all methods, however different, aim to carry us beyond suffering and beyond self. Seeing this, a practitioner no longer discriminates. All methods become one road, and that road is the Noble Eightfold Path, the path of true seeing and knowing. If the 84,000 doors are the near shore, the Noble Eightfold Path is the river that connects to the far shore. The 84,000 methods help people set out. That is the near shore. The Noble Eightfold Path is the middle way river, free of extremes, free of clinging to existence or non-existence, free of falling into suffering or bliss, being or nothing. Whoever truly enters this current, by whatever boat, will cross. Whoever only stands at the door and never steps into the 8 limbs of practice remains on the bank, calling out the names of the boats and feeling satisfied. The Buddha never asked anyone which sect they followed. He asked, "Have you seen suffering? Do you know its cause? Have you ended suffering? Are you walking the path to the ending of suffering?" Those questions are the Noble Eightfold Path in action. There is no answer in theory, only answers in right mindfulness and right conduct. The 84,000 methods are the flowers. The Noble Eightfold Path is the branch. Flowers may differ in color, but there is only one branch. If flowers are cut off from the branch, they wither. If the branch is kept but no flowers bloom, the way dries out. A practitioner needs both, expedient means to set out, and the right path to stay oriented. Once this is understood, we stop asking which method is more correct and only ask, is my mind walking in the right direction? Because in the end, all doors converge on one path, and the one who arrives is not the one who walks many roads, but the one who walks the right road. The most dangerous illness in practice is not breaking precepts, but clinging to methods. One who breaks a precept still knows they are wrong. One who clings to a method thinks they are right. A person who errs can still repent, but one who believes, "I am already right," has no doorway to correction. The Dharma is medicine for illness, but when the patient believes they are healthy merely because they are taking medicine, that very medicine turns to poison. When reciting the Buddha's name breeds conceit, when meditation produces a sense of superiority, when mantra practice fears others might chant incorrectly, the method has turned into ego. Liberation does not lie in how one practices, but in whether the mind truly releases self and delusion. The Dharma is born to carry us across the river, yet the ego always wants to drive in a stake midstream. The more we practice, the subtler the ego becomes. Those who have not studied the way cling to wealth and fame. Those who have studied then cling to doctrines, to methods, to forms. Beginners cling to worldly pleasures. Long-time practitioners cling to spiritual pleasures. At that point, expedients have been mistaken for the goal. Someone who sits long in meditation feels at ease and imagines attainment. Someone who often recites and dreams auspiciously imagines that the Buddha has sent signs. Someone who chants a mantra and hears echoes imagines spiritual response. All of this is merely the mind reflecting itself, but through ignorance, they mistake a reflection for the moon and build a shrine around that reflection. This is the most painful paradox in the way. The more diligent one becomes, if lacking illuminating wisdom, the more easily one becomes a prisoner of one's own method. Such a person is no longer bound by gross greed, anger, and delusion, but tied up by subtle delusion, believing oneself awakened. They say this method alone is correct, and that method is wrong. They teach, but their mind craves others' respect. They do good, yet secretly hope to be seen as advanced. They meditate, but constantly compare themselves with others. They keep precepts, but treat precepts as certificates of virtue. All this is arrogance clothed in the language of the Dharma. If a bodhisattva still clings to methods, they are no bodhisattva. Why? Because a method is also a form. Any form, however subtle, is an object of mind. And a mind that still distinguishes I practice and I attain remains steeped in ignorance. When senses pleasures bind us, it is obvious. When anger and greed bind us, it is clear. But once we understand the Dharma, the mind begins to cling to understanding itself. This is the obstruction of what is known, an obstacle created by knowledge itself. One who studies many sutras and knows much doctrine, but does not contemplate non-self within each piece of knowledge, adds a layer of ego with every insight. Like mountain climbing, the higher you go, the colder the wind. The closer to the summit, the more a small misstep plunges you into the abyss. The more skill a practitioner has, if lacking wisdom's illumination, the more easily faith turns into pride. They trust in methods, but no longer trust the knowing nature within. They cling to methods like a child clutching a mother's hand, forgetting that a mother can guide, but cannot walk for them. A mind afraid of emptiness is a mind that still needs a handhold. Methods give us a support, a pattern, a rhythm, and the mind feels at ease. But if we stop at that ease, the way becomes a deluxe sleeping pill. Some sit only to feel calm, recite only to sleep better, chant only for high energy. Not realizing this is still the search for pleasure, the avoidance of pain, not liberation. The aim of the Buddha's teaching is not a pleasant mind, but a mind no longer ruled by pleasant or unpleasant. That is absolute freedom. All methods exist to lead to that state, where there is no longer a practitioner, a method, or an object of practice. Not everyone should let go early. If one is not steady, letting go of methods leads to scattering. If one is still full of delusion, dropping methods is like letting go midstream. The Buddha did not teach us to discard practice, but to recognize when practice is sufficient to release. When a practitioner truly sees the arising and passing of mind, sees that methods are only the flow of dependent origination, methods naturally fall away without forced abandonment, like lotus petals that fall when the flower opens, without effort. True Dharma is no Dharma. Ultimately, the Buddha said even Dharma must be relinquished, much less non-Dharma. To relinquish Dharma does not mean to fall into nihilism. It means to see that Dharma is not inherently real. The Dharma is like a mirror reflecting ignorance. When ignorance disperses, the mirror disappears of itself. What remains is not nothing, but the still wisdom of nirvana, present here and now. Then the practitioner no longer asks which method is correct or which expedient is best, for they themselves have become the path. No Dharma remains, no learner remains, only a lucid, spacious knowing without footing. One who breaks precepts still readily sees their fault. One who clings to method does not, because the ego has donned the Buddha's robe. The Dharma was a raft, But once the ego sits enthroned upon it, the raft becomes a royal seat. Such a person says, "I am practicing," but in truth they are adorning the ego with Buddhist language. The goal of the way does not lie in how one practices, but in whether self and delusion have truly been released. As long as there is a me who practices, any method is still an expedient, not the ultimate. When the me dissolves and only the tranquil mind remains, all methods are spontaneously complete. The Buddha called this the gateless gate. There is no gate because one is already passed through. There is no method because the mind is empty. No more, I practice meditation, I recite, I chant, I contemplate. There is only a still, radiant mind, knowing clearly the arising and ceasing of all dharmas without beginning or end. The 84,000 doors gather into a single vastness of mind. The Buddha said, "There is no dharma that the Tathagata has taught, for that dharma belongs neither to the Tathagata nor to anyone." A paradox to the ear, but the ultimate truth. For when a practitioner sees that all dharmas only arise dependently, they understand there is nothing to grasp, no one to grasp, and nowhere to arrive. Gateless does not mean the absence of doors. It means all doors dissolve into one open expanse, where all dharmas arise together and are silent together. The Zen door, the Pure Land door, the Mantra door, all dissolve into the door of mind. And even mind is only a provisional name, for this very mind abides nowhere. When one has not yet seen, they need a method to rely on, like a traveler in the night needs a torch. But when the sun has risen, the torch becomes superfluous. The Dharma is not lost. It is simply no longer necessary. When there is no more method, wisdom appears of itself. Like a dreamer awakening, there is no need to force the dream away, because waking alone dissolves it. So too for one who sees the Dharma as it is. They no longer need to eradicate greed, anger, or delusion, because they see clearly that their very nature is non-self, impermanent, dependently arisen. When anger arises, they simply smile. Ah, this is anger. No hatred, no chasing away, no owning, no rejecting. Anger dissolves by itself in the light of knowing. This is non-doing wisdom, pure seeing, where person and phenomenon are no longer two. As long as there is I practice, there remains a division between the one who practices and the practice itself. When the I vanishes, only Dharma self-operating within knowing remains. Such a person is no longer the agent of action, but the tranquil witness of all motion and stillness. Sitting meditation no longer has I am sitting. Reciting the Buddha's name no longer has I am reciting. In breathing, there is only the breath and the knowing of the breath, no one who knows. That knowing has no center and no shore. This is precisely the Dharma body of the Tathagata, without marks, without abode, unobstructed, boundless. One who arrives there no longer asks, who is enlightened? For enlightenment has no owner. There is only enlightening, a pure state of clear seeing. No one attains, nothing is attained, because the attainer and the attained share one nature of emptiness. Gateless is not emptiness as void but fullness. Some hear gateless and fear. Then what's the point of practice? If there's nothing to practice, isn't it meaningless? No, gateless does not mean nihilism. It is a fullness without obstruction, like space, empty yet accommodating all, without form yet nurturing every form. Those who see the gateless gate do not fall into laziness, because they know even the smallest act is the Dharma manifesting. Walking is Dharma, eating is Dharma, breathing is Dharma. There is no need to manufacture merit, for every movement of mind is already the way at work. This is absolute freedom, freedom even from having to practice. It is not laxity, it is practicing without seeing oneself as practicing, acting without a doer. This non-dash does not annihilate. It shines like space holding the moon. The gateless gate does not come from reasoning, but from letting go. No one learns it by reading. Only when we release all clinging does the gate open of itself, not with a key, but by the natural falling away of every boundary. The Buddha once said, "I do not teach people anything. I only help them let go of what they are not." When all is released, only the knowing remains, nameless, formless. That knowing is nirva, not born, not dying, not coming, not going, not increasing, not decreasing, neither inside nor outside. 84,000 doors converge there, where all methods dissolve, yet knowing does not. Seeing the Dharma as it is means seeing all phenomena come, go, and fade on their own. There is no need to drive them away or prolong them. Such a one can smile in the marketplace, knowing debates over right and wrong are merely the play of the deluded mind. They can sit amid suffering while their heart remains clear as space. Knowing pain is only a wave on the ocean of mind. The water is still water, never diminished. Seeing the Dharma as it is also means seeing oneself as one truly is. I am only a process of arising and ceasing within the stream of conditions. There is no enduring entity behind it doing the practice. No more practitioner, no more practice, only Dharma illuminating itself. As long as there is, I am practicing the Dharma, one remains on the near shore. When only Dharma is revealing itself within knowing, one has arrived at the far shore. Yet that far shore is not far at all. It is right between two thoughts, where the mind is empty yet bright, still yet aware. The 84,000 methods are, in the end, 84,000 ways the mind returns to itself. And when the mind has returned, there is no longer a method to return to, only a boundless openness where all dharmas dissolve while the Dharma still shines. Waiting at a red light, when impatience arises, we need the methods of contemplating patience and impermanence. Hearing criticism and feeling wounded, we need the methods of contemplating non-self and dependent origination. Seeing a beautiful object and wanting to possess it, we need the methods of contemplating impurity and impermanence. No meditation hall, no bell or fish drum required, only knowing what afflicts us and how to release it. That is precisely practicing the 84,000 methods. Where is the Dharma? The Buddha never taught that it exists only in temples. He said, wherever there is greed, there is Dharma to practice. Wherever there is anger, there is Dharma to learn. Wherever there is delusion, there is a path home. Therefore, the Dharma is not confined to scriptures. It lives in our responses to life. The Buddha's gaze sees each arising and ceasing moment as a lesson. If, in a flash of anger, we recognize this is anger arising, at that very moment we are practicing. There is no need to wait for a bell or to sit still for an hour. Right where we stand, in the blare of a horn, in the glance of another, there is a living Dharma gate. 84,000 methods, 84,000 mind reactions. The Buddha spoke of 84,000 methods because beings have 84,000 afflictions. Each affliction is a doorway into the way if we dare to look directly. Without anger, we wouldn't know to practice loving kindness. Without greed, we wouldn't learn release. Without fear, we wouldn't learn courage. Without obstacles, we wouldn't learn wisdom. If everything in life went our way, how would we know whether we still cling to self? If no one ever provoked us, how would we know whether anger remains? Precisely adversity is where the Dharma shows itself most clearly. Just as medicine is not for display in a cabinet, the Dharma is not for storage in a book. It exists to meet each acute illness of mind. Someone is driving, another cuts them off. Irritation flares with an urge to curse. In that instant, if they remember, this is anger, pause for one breath, feel the heat, the flushed face, and then the mind settle. That is meditation. No altar, no bell, only clear seeing of the mind. Someone hears others speak ill of them. The heart hurts and wants to argue, to prove themselves. But then they remember those words, too, arise from conditions. There is no fixed me to be insulted. The mind releases, the lips curve into a smile. That is contemplation of non-self. Someone sees another praised and feels a twinge of envy. In the very moment of knowing this is envy, they are practicing mindful knowing of themselves. If we do not see it, that mind state grows. If we do see it, it dissolves of itself. That is the antidotal method. The Dharma is not far away. It is right where mind arises and ceases again and again in daily life. Each time we clearly see our own mind, we are practicing. Cooking and knowing the hand holds the knife, feeling the heat, knowing the mind is at ease, that is mindfulness. Washing dishes and knowing the cool water, the bubbles fading, The body moving, that is meditative conduct. Speaking and hearing our own voice, knowing whether these words will cause pain, that is right speech. Eating and knowing that each bite is a confluence of conditions. No pride, no craving. That is contemplation of dependent arising. The Dharma is not outside of life. Life itself is the Dharma. If the mind knows, everything is practice. If the mind forgets, everything is samsara. At work, facing a difficult person. If we know this is a condition to learn patience, we are practicing. If we react and anger arises, we are revolving in rebirth. No one needs to change jobs. We need only change how we see. At home, a child talks back, we bristle. If we remember this is a lesson in compassion and listening, the heart softens, the words grow gentle, and circumstances shift with the mind. That is living Dharma. There is no need to chant 100 sutras. One moment of recognizing our anger without following it is already a step out of birth and death. Someone asks, "What is my practice?" The answer is your very mind in this moment. If you are angry, your practice is to contemplate anger. If you are anxious, your practice is to contemplate impermanence. If you are greedy, your practice is to contemplate impurity. If you are sad, your practice is to contemplate dependent origination and non-self. If you are at ease, your practice is to maintain mindfulness without slipping into complacency. If you are lazy, your practice is to contemplate diligence. No practice is fixed, because the mind changes from instant to instant and the method shifts with each breath. This is the deeper meaning of the 84,000 Dharma Gates, not 84,000 rituals, but 84,000 ways to awaken. We do not need to create a method. The Dharma is already present. It is only because the mind is blind that we do not see it. The Buddha did not bring the Dharma from elsewhere. He pointed to the Dharma that is here. Right within the car horn, the wind, the argument, the Dharma is teaching us, because all are arising and ceasing, impermanent and without self. Look deeply, and each breath is a sutra, each step a mantra, each letting go a word of the Buddha. No one is too busy to practice. Only those who do not see the Dharma in their busyness. When we eat and know we are eating, walk and know we are walking, this very life is a meditation hall. When we are angry and know we are angry, the very anger is a lesson in liberation. When we are greedy and know we are greedy, the greed already weakens. We do not need 84,000 rituals. Only one mind that clearly knows our 84,000 reactions. The Buddha's teaching is not something distant. It is the life skill of the awakened. We do not need to change our life, only our way of seeing. We do not need to leave the city for the mountains, because the Dharma is right in the city streets, in the courier's call, in the lights, in each ordinary collision of daily life. Each moment we know we are alive is a Dharma gate blossoming in the marketplace. The Buddha did not prescribe one universal formula. The 84,000 Dharma gates are 84,000 prescriptions. The wise observe themselves. What illness does my mind have today, and which medicine is needed? When healed, that medicine should be put down. Practice is not collecting methods, but applying them yourself, and setting them aside yourself, like one who stops taking medicine once cured. The Buddha, the physician of the mind. In many sutras, he is likened to a doctor and the Dharma to medicine. Sentient beings are patients. Each is ill in a different way. Some are dominated by greed, that is the illness of attachment. Some by anger, the feverish illness. Some by delusion, the illness of confusion. Some by conceit, doubt, and wrong views, deep and persistent illnesses. For each illness, the Buddha taught a different antidote, not so that everyone does the same thing, but so that each person can examine themselves and choose the right medicine. Therefore, the 84,000 Dharma gates are not 84,000 schools, but 84,000 prescriptions. Each corresponds to an illness of mind, a suffering of beings. To know the illness is to choose the right medicine. A patient who does not know their illness finds even precious medicine useless. A practitioner who does not see where their mind stands, though they read the entire Tripitaka, only studies medicine without ever taking medicine. Thus, the Buddha did not tell us to study endlessly. He taught, know the state of your mind. If the mind is greedy, the medicine is contemplation of impurity. seeing the body as unworthy of craving and things as unworthy of grasping. If the mind is angry, the medicine is contemplation of loving kindness, seeing that the other suffers as we do, led by karma, and does not need our resentment. If the mind is deluded, the medicine is contemplation of conditions, seeing all things arise from causes, nothing stands alone. If the mind is conceited, the medicine is contemplation of non-self, seeing self and others as waves on the same sea. If the mind is anxious, the medicine is contemplation of impermanence, knowing nothing fixed exists to cling to. There is no one prescription for all, because each person has a different constitution and each time has different conditions. Take the wrong medicine and the illness worsens. People today often suffer a common illness, taking someone else's medicine. Seeing others meditate, they meditate. Seeing others chant mantras, they chant. Seeing others recite the Buddha's name, they recite, without knowing their own illness. Someone with a scattered mind chooses an abstract contemplation and becomes even more scattered. Someone prone to anger chooses dialectical debate and grows more rigid. Someone with a fragile mind chooses a path of severing all worldly ties and becomes more isolated. To practice without knowing the illness is like taking the wrong dose because you saw it work for someone else. Only when side effects appear do you realize the medicine is fine but not suited to you. The Dharma is not wrong. The user has not yet the wisdom to diagnose. Self-diagnosis is the fundamental skill of a wise practitioner. The wise ask each day, "What is my illness today?" In the morning, seeing laziness, they take the medicine of diligence. At noon, seeing greed, they take the medicine of relinquishment. In the afternoon, seeing anger, they take the medicine of loving kindness. In the evening, seeing conceit, they take the medicine of non-self. Hour by hour they diagnose and medicate. This is practical practice. Practice is not running after new methods, but seeing the old illness as it arises. The true practitioner does not collect techniques, but applies them according to conditions. When the mind is at ease, no extra medicine is needed. When the mind is agitated, they know to take the previous dose again. In this way, practice ceases to be ritual and becomes a life skill of wisdom. When healed, stop the medicine. The wise lay it down when the fever is gone, not denying its benefit, but knowing the right time. Like one who crosses a river, once ashore, the raft is left for others. No one carries a raft up the mountain. Practice is curing illness, not collecting medicines. Some collect methods like antique collectors. Hearing a new teaching, they take notes, buy books, set up an altar, recite rituals, but never apply them to their own afflictions. They know the names of medicines and their formulas, but do not take them. That is Buddhist knowledge, not Buddhist wisdom. The Buddha did not want us to become people who understand the way. He wanted us to become people free from suffering. To be free from suffering, we must dare to look at our illness, to admit the mind still has greed, anger, and delusion. That honesty opens the door for wisdom to enter. One who hides their illness remains unpracticed even in a monastery. One who dares to face their illness begins healing even in the marketplace. Wisdom is one's own doctor. No one can heal our mind but ourselves. The Buddha cannot take the medicine for us. He only points out the prescription. We must take it in our own hand, swallow it, and know when to stop. Practice is the inner medicine of the heart. The more we practice, the better we know body and mind. The clearer we know, the less we depend. When there is no more illness, that person becomes a physician for others. Then the practitioner becomes the Dharma, no longer using medicine, because awakened presence itself is the invisible cure. Where there is no illness and no medicine, only the ease of a mind that is unmoved remains. A Dharma gate is not something to possess, but a way to understand and heal our own mind. Each affliction is a lesson, each method a dose, and each letting go a recovery. We do not need to practice 84,000 methods. Only one mind that knows when it is sick and dares to take the medicine. Knowing this, we no longer wander in search of the way, for the way has become the healing breath of each instant. A Dharma gate is a wave. Dharma nature is the sea. The waves have 84,000 forms, but the water has a single taste, the taste of liberation. When a practitioner stops clinging to numbers and to distinctions of this door and that door, then each breath, each step, each mindful knowing is the one Dharma gate, the gate of the gateless, of awareness in each moment. This is the full meaning of the Buddha's words. I teach the Dharma like a raft for crossing, not to carry on your back. The 84,000 Dharma gates are but the waves of the ocean mind. Each method has its own shape, rhythm, and sound. But the essence of all is water, Dharma nature. As long as one sees this method as different from that, one still stands on the shore, looking only at waves. When one sees that every wave comes from the sea, that rising and subsiding never depart from the sea, then the sea is one, here and now. Methods are the means to recognize water, not to stare at waves forever. One who understands the way does not seek exotic waves, but drinks the water in every wave that rises. Likewise, the wise do not chase the new. They see Dharma nature in every method already in motion. Dharma nature is the serene ground of all phenomena and of all methods. It is not outside us. It is the self-knowing nature of this very mind. When the mind is still yet luminous, that is Dharma nature manifesting. When the mind is in motion yet aware, that too is Dharma nature shining. There is nowhere Dharma nature is absent. We fail to see it only because delusive thoughts obscure it. The Buddha said, Dharma nature is like clear water. Winds of delusion raise the waves. When the wind subsides, the water shows its true face. The 84,000 methods are precisely 84,000 ways to calm the wind. But once the wind is quiet, the wise no longer ask which wave is more beautiful, for only the clear, motionless water remains. Methods are skillful means. Dharma nature is the true form of all such means. Means are countless. The true form is one. The Buddha opened many doors only to lead us into a single house. The 84,000 paths all orient toward the Noble Eightfold Path. The Noble Eightfold Path returns to virtue, concentration, and wisdom. Virtue, concentration, and wisdom return to knowing, and that knowing is Dharma nature. Knowing this, the practitioner no longer worries about which road to take, for every road merges into one mind. One who recites the Buddha's name and truly sees Buddha nature. One who meditates and truly sees mind nature. One who chants mantras and truly sees non-self. They all share one taste, the taste of liberation. Letting go of methods is not abandoning the way, it is fulfilling it. When illness remains, medicine is needed. When illness is gone, medicine becomes a burden. So it is with methods. The Buddha never taught us to throw the Dharma away. He taught us not to shoulder it after crossing the river. For one who has crossed but still clings to the raft cannot go farther. A method has meaning only when it leads us back to no method. When a practitioner walks the whole road of expedience and touches the formlessness of the true Dharma, there is no longer a practitioner and no longer a practice to perform. The practitioner's mind becomes a clear mirror, reflecting everything, retaining nothing. They know all dharmas arise and cease, while the self-nature has never moved. This is the meeting point of means and goal. Each breath is the Dharma gate of the gateless. When the mind rests in Dharma nature, every movement and stillness becomes meditation. Sitting is meditation, standing is meditation, speaking is meditation. There is no need to divide practice from life, for practice is simply living in lucid knowing. One out-breath, known. One step, known. One thought arising, known. One feeling dissolving, known. Only pure knowing remains. No clinging, no rejecting, no embellishing. This is the Dharma gate of the gateless, the ever-present wakefulness in which the practitioner no longer chooses methods, because the Dharma has permeated each cell and every moment of being. They no longer practice the Dharma, for life itself is the Dharma in motion. Before seeing, we still divide. Zen, pure land. Mantra, right, wrong, deep, shallow. After seeing, all such distinctions vanish like morning mist. The Dharma never divided, only our mind divided. When the mind no longer divides, the Dharma returns to its one-like essence. Such a person looks upon every path and school and sees only a single current of compassion and wisdom. The Dharma is no longer words, but living energy in each gesture, each glance, each breath. This is the breath of Dharma nature, where every sound is scripture, every act is meditation, every moment is awakening. For those who cling to methods, the way is split off from life. For one who sees Dharma nature, the way is life itself. There is no need to flee to the mountains, for the marketplace is a monastery. No need to wait for chanting time, for every word and movement is a wordless teaching. One who sees Dharma nature no longer separates worldly and sacred, for each moment is the Dharma's self-revealing. This is the spirit of the gateless. Wherever there is knowing, there is the way. Every space is a Buddha field, because Dharma nature pervades all, unobstructed, without difference. Methods are the score that leads. Dharma nature is the endless resonance. While the student is still counting notes, they have not yet heard the music. When notes are released, sound arises of itself within silence. So with practice, as long as we keep counting methods, we have not yet entered the Dharma. When all distinctions are released, the 84,000 methods return to a single taste, liberation. Freedom flavors all 84,000 Dharma gates. In truth, there are only 84,000 ways to counter the 84,000 afflictions moving within each mind. The Dharma is not far away. When anger flares, that is the Dharma teaching compassion. When greed stirs, that is the Dharma teaching letting go. When fear appears, that is the Dharma teaching impermanence. When pride swells, that is the Dharma teaching non-self. There is no one method for all, for each affliction is its own lesson. Simply know the state of your own mind. That is mindfulness, the threshold of every Dharma gate. Mindfulness is the lamp that shines upon the mind's illness. In that light, wisdom knows which medicine to take and when to set it down. No need to chant much or sit long. Only to see clearly, to know clearly, to release at the right time. That is to practice all 84,000 methods within a single mindful instant. The Buddha did not leave us 84,000 separate roads. He left us one knowing mind by which to recognize the countless roads opening in every moment. And when that mind is bright, all methods dissolve into one taste, the liberating taste of inner freedom.